Hey guys, welcome back to Somebody Studios, and in today's video I'm going to show you a simple trick that I often use when I do illustrations. And in this trick I'm going to show you how you can add grain to your finished work. So generally I do it in two ways. So one of the ways would be to rasterize this whole image, and then I would add the grain on the whole thing, so like as like an effect. That's the first one, and it's a lot easier because sometimes my computer can't handle, especially when I have a lot of vectors that I'm using, a lot of curves that I'm using in my image. But if you want to go one by one, I'm going to show you that as well. So let me give you an example. So I'm going to show you just how I do this using this the background color. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to change the gradient to a black and white color. There you go. And then I'm gonna invert it. It doesn't matter, you don't have to, but yeah. So this is what I want, and it fits on top of this, just to get the right idea. Actually, I'm gonna put it this way. Select it and go to effects and then texture, and here you can click on grain. Once you're on grain, I will just zoom out a little bit. Let's choose the grain that I think works best for this. So I like to use the grain type which is the most the largest type of grains, and for this kind of illustration I usually go with like a really grainy texture, just like this. So I'm going to increase the intensity just a little bit, not too much, just so I can see. I don't want the top to become gray. I still want it to be pretty pretty white in color, but and the bottom one I want it to be pretty dark. So this is what I want. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm also pretty happy with the size of the grain. So what I've used is intensity at 43 and contrast at 25. You can alter it as well based on what you like. Okay, so I'm just gonna press OK now. So now we have the grain on top of this. Now, because we originally used a gradient, if you select this again and go back to your gradient, when you move this, the whole grain moves, right? It makes it so much easier for you to just alter it on the go. It is a bit taxing on your computer. That's why the second method is I just use it as a grain texture on top of an image. But this is also a really interesting way to add some texture to different elements separately. Okay, so what now we're gonna do is there are two layers, right? So we have the background and then we have the foreground. We're gonna select them two together. I'm gonna do it together. So make sure they're exactly on top of each other. Select both again, then go on opacity and click on make mask. So now when you see it, you see all the grainy texture has been adopted by the background that we had. So now you can also alter the colors and move this around, and it will not affect your grainy texture. So now next what I would like to do is I will put it on top of my original image, and then I will change the opacity to multiply, and you see how dark it has gotten. I'm going to decrease the opacity, and I'm going to invert the mask. So when you invert the mask, it makes the gradient inverted. So now we have this area which is a bit more clear, whereas this bottom area has more grain on top of it. So let's put it back on here, and yeah, that's it. So you can now see that there is grainy texture very subtly that is added on top of that image. Now let me do this for the whole layer, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so there you go. So I've added grain on the background, then I've added grain on top of these overlaying layers, and then I've added grain on the final grass. Just a simple way, because I only did it in 3 layers. Would not recommend that you do it for every single separate layer, because that will make your computer run really slowly. So yeah, this is one of the ways that you can add grain to your illustration, and you can do the same thing, but just another way would be just to select the whole thing. And as I said, effect and then grain, and do exactly what we did before, but to the whole image. I hope that was a fun, easy tutorial, and let me know what you think. And if you want to see something else in the future, let me know. See you. Thank you. Bye.